Hello, welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I'm Terry. This is Jen.
Hello. I'm just making sure it's
Yep,
yeah,
you're good.
good.
Our topics for this week. I was going to put rape murder Twitter, but I decided algorithm. But either way, uh, so the rape one is Dean Withers has been accused of like sexual assault or rape. It's been very hard to find out exactly what he's been accused of because most of what I've seen is everyone like trolling him because he's in favor of believe victims. It's like, well, except this one, huh, Dean? Um, and people like pretending to accuse him of rape and all sorts of things. But that was pretty funny. Murder. I'm sure you've all seen the Lindsey Clancy thing where she strangled her three kids.
Yeah, and the feminists now have a T-shirt for it, and I'm like, if the
Yeah.
leftist women want to start murdering their own children, one, they should go to jail.
Ugh. I don't think she should go to jail. I think she should go to the noose. But
Yes, I,
um,
and the
I
ones
don't.
who
I don't
are
always get what I want.
the ones who are acting out right now and acting like this is normal. I think CPS should check you.
Oh yeah, for sure. The number of women I like the Lindsay Clancy is not really the story. The story is the number of women who was like, that could have been me. I relate to Lindsay. You're fucking what? You want to strangle your own kids? If that is true, you probably shouldn't have access to those kids because that is terrifying.
Yeah,
And
I'm tired of that side of the left. Like I know they think they want to speak for all women, but I'm like, you are a bunch of sociopathic narcissists. No, you fucking don't.
no, not at all. And that's one of the reasons I like Shu is like she,
Well,
even
she's
though
a
she
mom
doesn't,
now. She's probably
yeah,
losing her shit.
yeah, even though she's extremely online and like being extremely online tends to break women's brains, she has actually kept her brain and she's like normal woman, especially like normal mother. So you can go to Shu and she'll like be, are you fucking crazy? Why are you sympathizing with someone who murdered her own children? You fucking freaks.
Like it's one of those things where I hate having to borrow from the Christians because I don't go to church,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna. You can hate the sin and have some sympathy for the sinner, but
Yeah.
she still sinned. At the
Oh
end of
yeah.
the day, she did something really horrific. Like they're trying to play it off on like postpartum native because she did
Yeah.
have a new baby and stuff. But I'm like, no, I'm sorry. We
Here's, here's the
no.
thing though. If you're gonna say that because she had postpartum psychosis or depression or whatever you want to call it, that means it's okay for her to slaughter her kids,
Like no.
then but no, but if you're going to make that argument, then you have to say, well, when Chris Benoit murdered his family, that was because he had the traumatic brain injury. So it's not like it's fine for
Mhm,
him to do that too.
mhm.
Like obviously, it's not. It's
Well,
unfortunate that this led to that, but he still murdered his family. Lindsay still murdered her kids.
a lot of fratricide from the male was job loss. Like
Yeah,
sudden job loss and the overwhelming fear of losing everything or destroying the family, that'll set the odd dude off. Like the
yeah,
cases where it's male on family, like yes, some of them are creeps. Yes, some of them are psychos, but a lot of times it's just something like as simple as that. And like I can have sympathy for them for all of that. I can't because heat of the moment is heat of the moment, but you still
he still
murdered
did it.
people
Yeah.
and
Just
and they were
quickly,
little babies. So
yes. No, just quickly, hello to Spud Gun and Random American in chat who recently joined. Spud says rape and murder sounds like a fun weekend. Yeah, the title is going to be Rape Murder Twitter because I just like the idea of like increasingly horrible things, and then like you culminate it all into Twitter. But I decided with algorithm. I don't know. And Frosted says, if what she says about postpartum is true, we should revoke custody of all new mothers' children to avoid a. Yeah, well, exactly. If you're going to say anyone suffering from postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis is it's fine for them to murder their kids, they shouldn't have access to the kids.
like they've taken this gaslighting for what is bad behavior and I like just before the stream, I did this to myself, Terry. I was seeing this trend from some of the TikTok ladies who are have now decided that child abuse is the thing for attention. So they'll hold their kids up and cry about how miserable they are, and they'll be sitting there holding their kid and looking at them like, oh, I hate my fucking kid, and you're recording that. And this one lady's pouring water on her kid. I'm like, so you're waterboarding your kid basically.
No, but you know how you fix this problem? You take the kids away from them.
Yes.
Once women see that acting like this gets their kids taken away, suddenly all the, oh my God, my heart goes out to the child murderer. That shit goes away once they realize there's actually going to be consequences for virtue signaling about, enjoying women slaughtering their kids for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's why I don't normally go into Twitter. Like I go on because I like you and I like Hammer.
Yeah.
Not that I have to say, but
I'm going to be honest. I like Twitter. I mean, obviously, like there's a lot of people on there that I enjoy, but also just the window into the insanity of both extremes really, but more so the far left because they're the ones who've been given license to be extreme lunatics.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Like if I was not terminally online, you would never be able to convince me that a multitude of women actively supported a woman who murdered her own children. Like if I was not online to witness it myself, I would think, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
That is too insane. But I've seen it. It's real. And if I was not given access to this via Twitter, I would never have believed it.
It's like I can't remember the last name of the woman, but I remember in the 80s when Susan what's her face decided to drive her kids into a lake and then ditch them and they died.
Oh God, yeah.
And I don't remember people being like, "Oh, poor you. You did that because a man said no to you because you were a divorced woman with 3 kids." Like, what?
There's literally no justification at all.
Smith. It was Smith. I just wasn't sure, JB, because she's not the only psycho mom. She was so out there on the TV.
I mean, I didn't know her name, so Susan Smith. Okay, I'll assume that is true.
But like, I remember the story as a kid, and like, I'm grateful. Like, you can't always help who you're born to. I was adopted. No. I got lucky. My parents wanted me, and I'm like, shit. I'm not perfect either. But my mom didn't plan out my death.
There was a period of my life where I was concerned that I was unwanted. And no, my dad said, no. You better believe your mom wanted a kid. She was like, she wanted one. Like, okay, well, I can't argue with that.
Like, I understand current day stresses, because it's not that current day is necessarily hard. It's all of this gobbledygook and then nothing normal. Like I've been thinking about this for the last couple of months, and I wouldn't do it, but people who go to Japan and visit for a seriously reasonable amount of time, I think the reason they like it so much is because what they're experiencing is normal again.
Yes.
It's just like it might be the Japanese version of it, but it's normal. And we've been in crazy land for so long that it's just like I would want a better chance for my kid. Like, it's not that we can't build back normal. It's just right now it's so like there's so many predators.
Building back normal is going to take generations. It's just like 50 plus years away getting back to normal. It's too big of a job to achieve in our lifetimes. But also hello to Mike R, who's joined us in chat. And people in chat are mentioning Casey Anthony. I recognize the name, but I don't remember what the story behind her is.
Casey, she murdered her kid.
Okay, I mean,
it's one of those things where she got let off, and it's one of those cases where when you hear it, you just grind your teeth. It's absolutely a fuck up from the system.
Okay.
But she in all honesty isn't, she's never been forgiven for it, Terry. Like, even if you don't get them put in jail, sometimes, like, and don't get me wrong, I don't just fall under public opinion. No,
Yeah.
it's seeing enough evidence where, like, for whatever reason they couldn't use it, or it just wasn't in the rules, or whatever, and you can see enough where you're like, no, this stupid bitch did this.
Yes. And JB says the dingo eating a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Lindy Chamberlain. I mean, I don't expect people to remember the name of an Australian, but yeah, Lindy Chamberlain got accused of murdering her baby, and she said it was the dingo. And like
It was.
decades later, they uncovered evidence that it actually was a dingo. But like for the longest time, everyone assumed that she had killed the baby herself, and this is just like blaming the dingo. But yeah, so I don't know what ended up happening. I think she spent like 20 years in prison or something like that.
And that's why I don't want to just go with public opinion either. Like, I like to see evidence, and I do understand that in the past, we didn't even have DNA as evidence. So, like,
True.
yeah, and a lot of stuff in the past, like, it might have been bureaucracy and people not telling the truth. But at the same time, though, well, we all saw Charlie get killed.
Yeah. There's two comments.
Sorry, Candace.
Yeah. No. We can talk about that in a sec. Frosted said he saw a clip of a woman who murdered her kids and said, you can't replace children, but you can replace the feeling they give you, and they're easy to make. So that is psychotic. And Spudgun says, when women lose the right to vote, it's not the murders that will have done it. It's the reaction of, we just want to kill babies crowd. Absolutely. If your defense of, what's her name? Lindsey Clancy, is that she was too emotional because of the postpartum depression or whatever, then you're basically saying women are too emotional to vote. Because like if you can justify murder under, oh, women are like that, we're just emotional, then you don't have the capability of voting. You shouldn't have at all.
Also, like, maybe I don't have that much experience. I don't have that many kids, but she has 3 children. She would have shown signs of at least something before, or at least she would have had a family support system to help her out if she was overly stressed. Like, this idea that nobody's in your life because you're a leftist woman will stop blacklisting your conservative family members, because they'll help you with your kids when you need. Like,
that's V's position. He's basically saying that in a normal family, the woman is, like, the mother is not supposed to be alone with the babies anyway. Like, you're supposed to have grandparents to help. You're supposed to have, like, more than just the father and mother and children. You're supposed to have the extended family, so that if the woman is feeling overwhelmed, then she can go, lie down, and the grandmother can come in and play with the baby or feed the baby or whatever needs to be done. You're supposed to have that extended family to help you out. It's not supposed to be the mother single-handedly doing everything. And hello to Tia, who says, if the defense of murder is too emotional, when I stabbed you, I was angry at you. Well, yes, that's exactly right. It's a stupid defense. And
like, I said the same thing about a guy losing his job. Like, if he lost his job and then decided to take out his whole family, I could understand his breakdown. I could understand his frustration. I could even understand the feeling of sudden, like, overwhelming loss. But that doesn't excuse what he did. It doesn't. So no, I don't excuse what the women did.
No, I mean, I think Chris Benoit is the perfect parallel, because if you're going to say the medical condition of postpartum depression justifies her killing her family, then so does Chris Benoit's. He had, what is it, CTE, traumatic brain injury, whatever it's called. But yeah, like, he took one too many chairs to the head, and it broke his brain and he murdered his family. So surely he's got just as much right to a. Oh, sorry, the brain chemicals got a bit goofy. Oopsies, that Lindsey Clancy has.
Like there's I've had this conversation with pregnant women because okay, sometimes the odd pregnant woman will have more of an unbalance with their system. So yeah, more moody. Like I've met pregnant women who were so chill the whole time. They were like, yeah, I'm just I'm just pregnant. Yeah. And others who were just like off and on spicy all the time. And I'm like, just because you're hormonal doesn't really mean you get to take it out on people. It's kind of like sorry guys, I'm just going to say it's kind of like your period. People understand that you're hormonal. That doesn't mean you get to take it out on people.
I can even have sympathy. Like if instead of strangling her children, she had screamed at her children, I'd say, okay, you shouldn't have done that, but you're hormonal, like, and overwhelmed. It got to you. That it's not good, but it's understandable. But no, there's a difference between expressing your frustration by, screaming or whatever, and strangling them to death.
That's the thing that really bothers me with these feminists, because I don't think they understand how much you have to put into doing something like that. Like just how deeply disturbed you have to be to really do that. Like I'm not even okay. I take in and out of breaks from the murder mystery stuff. I don't mean to be a typical woman, but the odd story will catch my attention. And like when prosecutors and the people who study the bodies tell you this stuff, like, no, they really had to put effort into doing that because they understand how the human body works.
And Spidey's saying she strangled them with exercise bands. Yeah, sorry, I did hear that. If I said she strangled them with her bare hands, that was me being wrong. But yes, the details of how she strangled them is really beside the point. Tia says it was clearly premeditated. Well, yeah. I mean, from what I heard, she even sent the husband out of the house on some errand so that she would be alone with the kids so that she could strangle them, which is about as premeditated as it gets.
And I can't imagine, because two of the kids were old enough to understand what was going on.
Oh, they must have been terrified.
Like, so these feminists, I'm like, you can't tell me about compassion. I don't want to hear the word from you because you don't understand that one either.
No.
And
hello to Johnny Hillcat in chat.
And no, I couldn't imagine that. I've never had children. I couldn't, but I have compassion, so I can imagine those poor kids, and that's why I didn't get into law enforcement, and that's why I didn't get into medical, because I can't stand some things. And no, I'm not gonna get all lit about it, but man, that's why I don't stay on Twitter. I'd sit there getting myself into trouble boxes.
I have the gift of being able to stay fairly unemotional. So like I can be like angry or upset, but I'm not gonna like have my day ruined by it. It's just gonna be like, holy fuck, that's disgusting. And then but I'm not gonna be like I'm not gonna quote tweet and call them out or anything. What's up?
Well, I'm a little bit more brutal because like some of these women who are all into this stuff, like if they're not moms themselves, they're usually like teachers or HR women. And I'm like, I don't like that either.
No. But like I recognize, like, me screaming at someone on Twitter is not going to change their mind. It's not going to do any good. So I just look, they're psychotic. It's good that I can see that they're being psychotic because, like I said, otherwise I wouldn't believe it. But I mean, me yelling at them or me criticizing them is not going to change their mind. It's like you're not going to convince someone that said, fuck yeah, Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. There's no combination of words I can convey that will make them go, oh, actually, you're right, I shouldn't be celebrating his death. Same with Lindsey Clancy. There's nothing I can say that will make them go, oh, actually, you're right, I probably shouldn't be supporting the baby murderer.
I did try to be clever once. I tried telling some of these women who are very big into their abortions and, child abuse. And I was like, if you just get your tubes tied,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a forever thing. You got to check that shit, but it's at least cheaper than what you're doing.
No, I think for the abortion thing, it's so easy to all you've got to do is say, look, I'm actually more progressive than you. I think that abortion should be not only legal but encouraged, but only for non-whites.
Mhm.
I think to make up for the sins of colonialism, white people should not have access to abortion, but all non-whites should have full access and be actively encouraged to use abortion services. And like, how do they argue against that without admitting that abortion is killing a baby?
Well, Frosted, you're not wrong. It was never about equality.
No,
I'd
never.
say even with the first round, it wasn't necessarily equality. Because there's times where, like, if you look into, like, the Victorian era or something, like, there's times where you could see, like, okay, maybe they weren't paying people the way that they should have. And I do say that based off of work. Like, if you're working the same amount of hours and you're doing this much work, you should get paid for it.
But even then, like, there's differences there, because like if you're like in a performance-based job, then even if you're working the same number of hours, if you're in a sales position and you both work for 8 hours, but the man sells 50 things and the woman sells 30 things, then
True.
yeah, the man's commission is going to be higher because he did a better job.
And I agree with that. I agree with that too. Like, if that's what the rules are, then
yeah.
I would just point out to the same feminists that a lot of men were being underpaid too. So this idea that it was just women is like, no, there was a lot of, Victorian era and past, there's a lot of injustices when it comes to like that kind of equality. But
no, they actually did a study because Google I think it was Google, they were trying to assess the wage gap or something. Like, they did some study and they found out that they were actually underpaying all the men in their bid for like gender equality. They were overpaying women and underpaying men, so the wage gap was actually in favor of women, not against women. And that report suddenly disappeared. They did.
Well, I'm not talking about like the last 100 years, Terry. I'm talking about like Victorian era, like 1800s. Right. So even for that, like I don't know their math that well. Like, that's a time era where you're paying 2 cents for a can of meat, you know? Yeah. So like it's a different math system entirely. And like, yeah, a lot of people were being ripped off, like, but there were a lot of women who were like into ripping people off too. So,
my thing is, were women oppressed in the past? Yes, but so were men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like in different ways for different reasons. Hello, Green Badger. Because like women had less rights in the past, sure, but they also had no responsibilities. And I think if you have no responsibilities, you shouldn't have any rights, because with rights come responsibilities. And if you're going to say we don't want any responsibilities at all, then you can't have rights, because you need the responsibilities to hold you accountable for what you use those rights for.
Well, I think a lot of it is the way the feminists rewrite the 50s.
Yes.
Like, they have a whole entire rewrite of the 50s. So, like, yeah, a man could have a stay-at-home wife, but that doesn't mean that she wasn't necessarily a part of his business. Like, it depended on the woman. It depended on her background, her education, what it was she was good at. But a lot of business when men had wives that were the reason that they got business deals, because they were the way that they connected to people. Like, their job was literally to go and socialize with other wives, find out where their husbands worked, and set up deals with them. And literally that was their job. So between caring for home, caring for the kids, and then setting up, they're basically a secretary.
Yeah. I think, women and men had different roles, and I think they're supposed to, honestly. I mean, I don't know why women campaign so hard for the right to get a miserable experience working a 9 to 5. I think they had a pretty good taking care of the house. It was like better suited to their skills, and they're supposed to be the primary caregiver for the child, and That makes sense to me. The man goes out and makes the money, and the woman makes the home.
I think how the feminists do it is they do a revision on how the household money was dealt with. You know,
Yeah,
because there's this idea, well, he brought in the money, so it's his money, and therefore, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, legally that would have been how that works. But in those households, she was usually in charge of the budget. Like she was given allowance,
yeah.
and part of that allowance was her own money.
But
Like,
also, yes, like it was his money. But if he didn't spend it on taking care of his family, he was ostracized. Like the social penalty for neglecting your family as a man was so severe that like, no man was going to willingly do it because the social penalties were that severe. It's like you're basically considered the scum of the earth if you're spending your money on yourself and letting your wife and children go hungry. Yeah. You're the scum of the earth, and they weren't shy about telling you.
but yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot of little times where I see these little lies that they tell, and I'm like, to a young girl who, like, I'm in the 80s, you know, like I know I was a child for that, but that doesn't mean that in the 80s we weren't watching movies and stories that were based off of the 50s and before that.
Right.
And maybe the kids don't have as much of that visual material, but the way that they're portraying it now, I'm like, not quite what you're saying. No.
Yeah.
No.
And Tier's pointing out that in the 20s you could get fired for having an affair. Absolutely, yeah. Like that was just like a level of
Yeah.
like unacceptable that we really can't. Like we don't have anything like the equivalent would be like being racist in today's world, I suppose. But no, it was like if you were like unfaithful to your wife, yeah, that was big. That was a serious offense, social offense.
And JB, you're not wrong. There are some women who are smart and super driven, and they actually tend to be the ones who ran the better households. I'll be real.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and like they were the ones who were setting you up with the bigger deals. I'm just like the level of understanding of what people were doing at the time and their thinking and what they were really doing. I can only imagine from stories and based off of what I know from historical stuff. You know, and feminists will know they read fantasy novels that leads to milking farms.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I think it's funny the Morning Glory milking farm has like become
Never read it.
No, I've never read it either, but I think it's become like ubiquitous. It's like everyone is aware of this stupid book by now.
Well, she's got a series of that shit. Like the real, like I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear any of these bitches talking about incels or furries ever, because
yeah,
what the fuck? Yeah.
Yes. The other thing, it's not one of the topics, but you kind of touched on it, was the Candace and Andrew Wilson. Well, Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, I should clarify, had a debate. Now, I didn't see it. I did see clips from, I think V is playing clips from it. But basically, Candace was basically saying, no, it's my intuition. I don't have any actual evidence that Tyler Robinson didn't do it. But, you know, it's vibes.
I think this is all just because she holds a grudge against Ben Shapiro. That's been my opinion. And Candace, I'm basing that off of my feelings. No, I don't have any proof of it. But you've really had a hatred towards the Jews ever since Ben Shapiro fired you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is there a correlation here? And I'm like, Ben is one Jew, for one, right? So take it out on him. He's one Jew.
Yes.
And two, I think he probably called her out on her Christianity. Because
I'm gonna correct. It's two Jews, because Jeremy Boring is also the head of Daily Wire. So it's Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. So two Jews. She's mad.
But I'm just saying, like, if anybody called her out for something, like, I could see it being Ben, because Ben looks like the kind of, and I don't mean to stereotype Mr. Ben. I was going to call you Mr. Jew, but he is the type of Jewish person that I expect started learning about both his religion and other forms of Christianity young. Like, the hat on the head thing is usually something I attribute to people who've actually taken time to study that stuff, which means they do know a lot more about the Bible than a lot of these people like Candace, who've only really become Christian again like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't get into religious debates for that reason, Terry, because I haven't read all the books.
No. I agree with V. Anyone who converted in the last 5 years is like insincere.
Yes, that's been my opinion too, and that's why I don't get into ideological debates with people who've been doing it since they were like 3.
Yeah, the one he seems to point out a lot is you know that Rev says Desu.
Yeah.
Like he's apparently converted in like 2024 to Christianity, and V's like, yeah, I don't believe him. He's like, no, I don't believe him.
It's not that I don't think people can start to convert. I just don't think that they should be speaking on behalf of the whole religion, because they don't even know a lot of the historical stuff, and they actually just ignore it. Like, if you point out stuff from Italy, like, you know, the place where Christianity kind of really starts to flourish a lot, they just ignore all that shit. And I'm like, I know that there's different forms of Christianity, but to ignore its existence tells me that you don't know a lot about the religion.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, and I still don't think I would be comfortable arguing theology.
No.
Because that was 20 years ago, and I don't remember like intricate details or anything. I remember there's this guy named Jesus. He's kind of a big deal. And you know, Mary and Joseph, they were his parents, and yeah. And don't steal or kill people.
In my experience, Terry was loving the memory of you know, all that I saw in Italy when I went to Italy for like a week, because I saw Rome and I saw Florence, and I was surrounded by a lot of really, really old Catholic history. I'm not calling myself Catholic though. You know, like I appreciated the history. I learned a little bit about where it came from and their version of it. And I didn't go off and then decide that all of a sudden I was a born again Catholic and start to preach to people about Catholic, like, you know, like.
And I agree with Frosted, who says, I don't think you can trust Candace to actually believe anything she says. No. I know the word grifter is overused, but I think it genuinely applies to Candace. She will say whatever gets her money. She doesn't have any actual convictions that she stands firm behind. She's just, if I say this, money comes in, so I will say this.
And I think what a lot of them are doing is they're hiding behind Charlie, because Charlie is kind of like what I mean when I say Ben Shapiro. He was the kind of guy who did actually start early and then continue.
Yeah. I think Charlie was sincere in his beliefs.
And that's the difference, is I could respect Charlie because he was sincere in his beliefs. He did know what he was talking about. He was more than willing to take the passage out to show you, and he knew where it was. You know,
but he also, like, you could tell by his behavior, he was very much, you know, like, I don't know how to put it, but it's like the common idea of what a Christian is like, turn the other cheek. He was like very patient. He was like very, honestly, he was very kind in how he dealt with people. So yeah, I think he came across as very sincere in his beliefs. Frosted says, I didn't trust Candace even before she left out. Yeah, of course not. She ran the fucking social autopsy website. if anyone runs a doxing website and then claims, oh no, oops, that was me being a goofball, that's silly me, I shouldn't have done that, I'm actually fully conservative now. Of course, like, you don't change your opinions in an instant just because you get called out. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Frosted says Charlie was a rabid racist, as ASC pointed out. I knew I liked him for a reason. So what are you saying?
No, I think it's just because it's getting close to the first full year since he was
Yeah,
shot that I think people
yeah,
are. It's one of those things that you notice it when you've lost somebody that the month before it just creeps up and all of a sudden you're like, why am I depressed?
yeah. Uh, I don't really
I didn't
feel
know him
like
that well. Like I liked his stuff,
no,
but I didn't know him. You know,
no. But like even with like someone that was close, like I don't really feel depressed in what was it April when my dad died April 14th in what, the 2017, so almost 10 years ago. I don't really have any attachment to that date. Like I don't feel sad around it. I don't really I don't really think of him more than I normally do just because it's the anniversary. And I don't know. It's just
maybe
maybe
it,
I'm weird.
maybe it's the difference between a man and a woman. Because
I think I'm pretty weird in general though. But yeah, I don't know. Like I will think of my dad when something reminds me of him, and the date doesn't necessarily remind me of him. Whereas like if I see something and I think, oh, dad would have loved this, that will make me think of him more than it happening to be April 14th.
it could also just be me too. The
Yeah,
difference
maybe.
between you and I, because like not to bring up past people, but BG passed away
Yeah,
during
yeah, yeah.
too. So it's like two
I
people in the
think
same month for me.
no, but I think yours is the more usual because like I don't even care about my birthday. Like most people care about their birthday.
It, it, it,
And for me it's just a non-event.
it's one of those silly things where like I don't necessarily dwell on BG all the time, but then little things will have me remember her, and then I'll be like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
I miss you," because lately, news has cropped up about GTA 6, and
Yeah.
one of my last memories of her is a recording from her and her now ex fiance. She'd uploaded an app for her. She had I don't know how to explain this because she was blind, right? But she had a reader that would help her with some of her games that would give her like coordinates and things like that.
Right.
And she'd gotten one that would allow her to play GTA 5. And
Okay.
so with all this GTA 6 coming out, I'm like, shit, she never got a chance to finish her GTA 5. Like she had like 2 hours of this stream where she was trying to figure out how to ride a car blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like when I think about it, I'm like, no, she wouldn't want me to dwell on it. Like she actually told all of us, like if she ever passed, don't fucking dwell on it. But
Yeah.
at the same time though, I'm like, man, I miss you.
Yeah. Frosted says I've got a touch of the tism. Maybe I do. I do have. I'm being arrested. Yeah.
They're gonna
Oh,
take you to the funny farm.
yes. No, I mean, I do have. I guess like whether you want to call them symptoms or personality traits that overlap with like an autistic diagnosis, but I've never been diagnosed, and I honestly don't really care enough to go see a doctor. But yeah, I mean, maybe I am slightly. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, here's the thing, JB. I don't dislike GTA 5 because BJ's gone. I
Hmm.
miss her because I don't, I'll never
Yeah,
get to see her play the rest of it. And if I dislike GTA 6, it's because the current one looks like they're gonna pull a we made bullshit and we're trying to pretend like we didn't.
um, like the recent Odyssey movie, how everyone was like shitting on that.
Mhm.
That made me think of Troy, like the Brad Pitt movie, and that was the last movie I saw with my dad. So that made me think of my dad. Especially when people started posting the Brad Pitt movie, like to compare it with the Christopher Nolan one. They're like, look how much better the old one was. That made me think of my dad, but the date, not so much. Yeah.
No, for things that made me remember BG, but I actually did think was irritating. And this actually ended up being a joke at her funeral. I'm just saying it was funny at the funeral. She had a liking for Avril Lavigne, somebody that
Yeah,
as a Canadian I just tone out because it's
yeah,
kind of like every other Canadian artist. You just hear them so often. They're white noise at this point.
of course, yeah.
But the day that she passed, like her mom really didn't have that much time to set up for a funeral, so she just took her music list, and so all of us are sitting there watching this depressing funeral and saying goodbye, and all of a sudden Avril Lavigne is like, "Don't you know it's complicated?"
Yeah, yes.
And so for like a week, I'm working, and it's like every 40 minutes. Don't you know it's complicated? I'm like, Lindsay,
Yeah.
are you making fun of me?
Yeah, I mean, I got to pick the music for my dad's funeral because I was really the one who knew him best, because he lived with me. I was the one paying his bills and taking care of him and stuff. So yeah, we actually had I always forget the actual name of it. Don't let go. You've got the music in you. You only get what you give. That was like, I don't know if it was his favorite song, but every time it came on TV, he would say how much he liked the song. So it's like, that's a song I associate with him. So we actually played that at his funeral. And it's like, I'm sure everyone's like, what the fuck kind of song is this to be playing at a funeral? But it made me think of my dad, so that seems appropriate for saying farewell. Yes, Get What You Give by the New Radicals. I remember the name of the band. I never remember the name of the song. But yes, that is the one. Yes, You Get What You Give. It's a good song. I like it. But yeah, because every time it came on the radio, or not the radio, the TV, because we used to watch the music channel. He was like, I really like this song. I was like, okay. I mean, literally every time it comes on, he says that. I'm gonna assume it's a song he likes. So yeah, at his funeral, we actually played it, and yeah, I'm probably the only person who felt any sentimentality towards that song. But hey, I got to pick the music for the funeral, and that made me think of that.
That's actually kind of nice, though.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I would do for my dad. My dad likes like the most random shit ever.
And the other song, which I'm sure pissed everyone off because they would have thought I wasn't taking the funeral seriously, was November Rain. And it's just like, it's a song about loss. I mean, admittedly, he's singing about like the loss of a girlfriend, but it's like nothing lasts forever. It had enough sentimental connection to the loss of a loved one that JB says, "What's wrong with November Rain?" I don't know. It doesn't really feel like funeral music, if you get what I'm saying. Like, it's my favorite. It's literally my favorite song. So there's nothing wrong with it as a song. But I'm just saying, I'm sure that the other funeral goers did not feel the appropriateness of Guns N' Roses at a man's funeral.
Yeah, thinking about my dad's, like, my dad's still good and going. So for those figure, if I ask my brother this is like a joke, I have to really ask very carefully because my dad's not young anymore. I don't want him to think I'm jinxing him or anything. But like, honestly, picturing like a music list for my dad versus my mom. Well, my mom's is depressing because like Chris and I are like, we're not a big fan of Barbara Streisand or Celine Dion or Leonard Skinner, and she's into a hell of a lot of that kind of stuff. And like, I can handle it, but after a certain point, I'm like, that's the most depressing funeral ever.
And Frosted says, if you did Welcome to the Jungle, that might have been weird. Yeah, I mean, that would have been weird. But no, I mean, November Rain had enough sort of. It's a song about losing someone, even if it's a slightly different context. And like I said, it's one of my favorite songs. It made emotional sense to me at the time. So yeah, that's what I went with. And Spudgun says his dad's 90, and he can't kill the fucker for trying. Well, I mean, 90 is a hell of a good innings. I mean, well done to him.
Yeah, he's seen a lot of everything.
Yeah. He's born in 1930s. That's going back a ways.
Well, it's one of those things, and I'm sure that even Spud Gun can understand me. My dad's side of the family, okay, he's from Scotland. They're not English, but doesn't matter. There's this level of like how you ask a question, right? So if I ask my dad something like, okay, music list, if I did make one for his funeral or something, he would understand I'm making a joke. But it depends on how I word it. Like if I'm a disrespectful little shit, he's gonna smack me upside the head or the bum, you know, yes. Which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a laugh out of him. Yes. But the thing is, you know, even as a Canadian, old British style culture, and you have it too. So like I'm just saying, because you lived in Australia. Yeah, your grandfather or your father will come back with something worse than you'd ever expect. And
Tia says at his funeral, play Another One Bites the Dust. I really want to go with Pop Goes the Weasel for mine. I think that would just be too funny. But my real answer is like I don't care. Obviously, I'm not going to be in a position to appreciate the joke, even if you do play Pop Goes the Weasel at my funeral. But you know.
That's cute.
Spud Gun says, "Hope we played Stop the World, I Want to Get Off" by Patsy Cline. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one too.
I think that's what my mom and my dad would do. I mean, they're good right now. Like we're not bringing that shit up with them anyway because it's kind of morbid. But it's just I grew up with the kind of family that would rather that you celebrate their life than just be, you know.
Yeah. No, for me, the funeral is more for the survivors than the dead. So I would say, honestly, whatever my family decides is, you know, most appropriate for them, do that. Like, I'm not gonna complain. Blue Ice Cream says the rap version of Pop Goes the Weasel. No, I don't like rap. So I would want the traditional. You don't have to put a spring on the underside of my corpse to like make me pop up at the appropriate moment, but you know that would. But yeah, like honestly, whatever makes them most at peace is what they should do.
I'm not meaning to pick on you, Tyr, but it's in my head now. If Tyr went to your funeral, chances that he's just going to play the Pokemon theme song.
Yeah.
You know, so in your next life, you could be the very best, the best there ever was. I can't remember the rest of the lyrics.
Yeah. I'm going to make you a deal, Frosted. Even if you don't die in December, we will wait until December and then have your funeral. That's how we do that one.
So we
you better not die in January because you're going to be pretty messed up by the time you get your funeral. But that's how you do that one.
Oh, did you guys go down, JB? Our weather in North America, and I mean that, like I know I'm in Canada, like the whole continent's had some weird shit lately.
And Tia says, play Donkey Kong rap at my funeral. Yeah, I mean, sure. I like the Donkey Kong rap. I think it's hilarious. But yes, we briefly touched on the first two, but I haven't actually told you what the algorithm is all about. Right. Twitter released this, like, the weightings on what gets you promoted in the Twitter algorithm. So if I can find the tweet. So they're saying if you share via copy link, that's worth 40 likes. If you just reply normally, it's worth 10 likes. Quote tweeting is worth 10. Sharing it in DMs is worth 10. If you follow the person who tweeted it, that's 8 likes. Sharing is only worth 4. So like if I don't know how sharing would be different, but okay. Repost is only worth 2. So I'm guessing that's a retweet. So a retweet where you just hit the retweet button is worth 2, but a quote is worth 10. So if you want to promote someone, don't just retweet them, make a comment about what they said. Opening the post, like you clicking on it to make that the one that you're reading, is worth 0.8 likes. Opening a link is 0.4. Opening a photo is 0.1. So the main thing is, and the reason I put it here is, next time you see those bastards engagement baiting, and you think you're being clever by quote tweeting so they don't get engagement, you just like their tweet 10 times. Don't do that. Don't quote tweet them. Don't retweet them. Don't reply to them. If you see someone who says, I bet you can't name a movie without the letter E in its name, or which of these snacks goes best with pizza, or any of that nonsense that clogs up my timeline, just block them. Don't retweet it and think you're being clever or fun. Just don't. Just don't.
I did that for a while. I was basically cleaning up my timeline with like cute animals and
Yes.
more peaceful things, just to my only mistake, and it's not a mistake because I do enjoy this creator, but the mistake is she gets into arguments with Troons, and that's the mistake. Is well, I agree with her very much, and a lot of the stuff that follows after, I do agree with most of that. The minute you get into that, your whole timeline ends up with like Troon crap, and I'm like, oh. Fuck that. But I like her, so I'm like, shit, I'll go in and then clear it up with more cats.
So yeah, I actually found a plugin that I can just blanket ban everything from South Asia and everything from Africa. So I don't see most of the engagement bait, but I still see people like quote tweeting it and saying, if you comment, you can get in-game currency for Raid Shadow Legends. Well, if that's the case, well, I take it back. But no. But yeah, because I've region blocked those two areas, I don't see the engagement bait, but I see people quote tweeting the engagement bait and trying to be clever and like, subverting the point. No. Just ignore them. If you don't engage, they don't get money. They might just go away.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's not hard to pick out too. Like if they're really just, you could, because they won't engage in a proper conversation either. Like never. And they'll try to drag out an argument with people for hours based off of nothing when they have nothing.
The more they reply, the more you reply. That means the more money they get.
Mm-hmm. So I put a lot of people in the mute box too, like not necessarily just block, but mute, because I think it's funnier.
And Frosted says, block everything from Asia and Africa. Can we apply that to our immigration system? If only. If I could dictate immigration policy, that would absolutely be first thing I did. I would make an exception. Well, I wouldn't say all of Asia. I would say South Asia. We don't want Indians. We don't want Pakistanis. But Japanese, they're fine. We can have them. Yeah. So, so that's the Twitter algorithm. They actually gave the stats. So yeah, if you want to promote someone, that's how you do it. If you want to penalize someone, they actually had a bunch of. I can go back. Where is it? I don't like that they changed it from bookmarks to history because I always forget and I can't find it. So yeah, if you report someone, that's 468 negative likes. If you mute the author, that's 118 negative likes. If you say you're not interested, that's 86 negative likes. And if you block the author, that's 62 negative likes. So muting is actually almost twice as effective as blocking. So I should switch to muting instead of blocking.
Well, that's what I was doing because to me it sounded like, okay, well, there's somebody sitting outside of my house and I have the kind of glass that's bulletproof and I can't hear them. So they're screaming at me and I can't hear shit. So I could just do whatever the fuck I want. And that's what I do.
Yeah. And Spudgun says his timeline is full of ethnic nationalists and racists. He worked hard to curate his timeline. Yeah, I mean, if I look at mine, it's basically pretty ladies, goo goo gaga videos, and people, criticizing the left. I do not mute you, Tier. If I mute anyone that I know, it's because there's the hotkey. So if you think you're typing a tweet, but the cursor's in the wrong section. Hitting something like B will block and like M will mute. And I've accidentally done that a couple of times, but I catch it and I fix it. But yes, no, I've never muted Tier. It would be nice to mute him sometimes, but no, I don't. What's the app I use to jailblock? It is called Exposed. So I'll put it. It is. I'll just type it in chat.
You know, I just realized something weird, Tier, because you're supposed to be a lich, right? Which means that you're like bony. You're like, your head would be a skull. How would you mute somebody like that? Like, even if you tied up their mouth, like they don't really have a mouth to tie up, because that's tying up your muscles, but you don't have muscles.
Yeah. I think you figured out why he went with something that you can't shut up.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it all makes sense. But yes, I put it in chat. Exposed is the geoblock plugin. When I was talking about it on Twitter, there was another one. There's the guy who made a different geoblocking plugin replied to me, but I don't know if I can find that because it was a while ago, and I've got a lot of tweets in my replies. If I can find it, I'll let you know the name of the other one. But
Well, Tier's in agreement. He's unmutable.
yes. It's probably going to take too long to scroll through all my tweets. No, it's not even going to go down far enough to find it. So, no, I guess not. So yeah, I don't know what the other one is, but Exposed is the one that I use. Spud, it is available for desktop because that's the only thing I use. So yes, it's a Brave plugin, so I don't know. It might need to be using Brave to use it, but I just clicked on the Exposed link when people were talking about it, and yeah, I just added it to my extensions, and now I can geoblock whatever region I want. And yeah, because I like my phone is literally just a phone. The only thing I use my phone for is to call my mother once a week. That's it.
It's shamelessly. I have things on my phone. I just use it for a phone. Like I could use it for internet. Like I do have it. I just don't, because it's the thought that if I ever needed it to seek out a map, I've got that available. But I sit at home most of the time, so I just use it for phone.
And I don't go outside. What do I need my mobile phone to be internet for? Like it is. Like I could. It's an iPhone. I could use it, but it's also 15 years. Well, maybe not 15. Over 10 years old. So most apps don't work on my phone because they're just.
Hi, Batman.
Outdated.
Yes. I know you changed your name ages ago, but it's going to be Batman for probably a long time.
Hello to Fairy Bastard. His phone is only turned on once a week. Yeah, basically. I mean, I use my phone to call my mom and not much else. It does make an alarm sound at 10 o'clock, so I remember to do like one of the online games I play. The day resets at 10 o'clock my time, so okay, the game has reset, so I know I can play it again. But that's it.
The only other thing that I've done with my phone lately, and it's still logical, is I do have an alert through the Gmail on it, for job notifications, and that's just to remind me to keep looking.
Fair enough. But is still using Windows 3.5. I would like to go back to those days. They back when things worked.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, I think we're close enough to end time. There's no point dragging it out for 2 minutes just for the sake of doing so. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you, Jen, for keeping me company. Yep. Thank you, chat, for coming along and listening to us. And we will see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.